plan A, plan B, plan C, because plan A was to have McCarty start. But because of when we got down, it's like, okay, if we empty our bullpen and then we have Mac, especially with a right hand hitting dominant line, we could leave ourselves really exposed today. So we had Gaddis ready. He's been pitching really well. He's kind of, when people ask me at the beginning of the year, who do you think? You never know. Because I'm not sure this is a name just because of his age and experience that you would think, but the way the guys go through their seasons dictates how, when they come. There was other guys too but for example, like Curry's kind of burst onto but he hadn't pitched in like 10 days, and it was like 3 days ago. And we're like, man, we can't hold this guy back for 2 weeks and then maybe he's going to pitch. So there's things that go into it. And then there's also things like coming up, we have Toronto, we have a doubleheader when we come back, then we have another double. So there's things that we're trying to make sure we have lined up. And then if there's either ors, we have a contingency plan. And then the other thing is Savali. He's pitching tonight too. So there's a lot to balance.
What is he able to do to kind of got back to Columbus?
Well, he's got the frame to pitch innings. Big, strong kid. Good velocity, good changeup. I mean, again, there's a lot to like. I don't think that, Carl is, in my opinion, at the best at this. He will simplify for this kid tonight, because this start isn't going to make or break his career. I mean, obviously, we hope he does great. But trying to ask him to do something before you kind of get to know him, that's not fair to the kid.
How many days in advance, like for tonight, do you guys have to start looking at, what might happen or what might not happen?
Oh, probably a couple weeks.
Okay.
Sure. I mean, just so we have ideas. I mean, Chris was in there earlier about the doubleheaders coming up. Just so it's on everybody's radar, and we don't just, it just makes sense.
How was he personality-wise when you talk?
Well, he's a quiet kid. They say his personality kind of shows more on the mound, which I'm fine with. I mean, he was great. I texted him last night. He was driving, so I told him quit texting to drive. But by all accounts, really good competitor. Not the loudest guy. That's okay. I was just going to say, to be honest with you, I didn't spend a ton of time with him today, maybe like normal you do when a kid that gets called, because it's his day to pitch. And that's a little different than like a Freeman.
Normally something gets called up, we talk to him before the game.
Oh, man, I'll sit around in the office and ask him, but this is a little different.
I've only seen the Astros 4 games.
Good.
The pitching numbers, bullpen and starters. What stands out to you about why their staff is so great?
You want one thing? Because there's about 7.
I know. What stands out?
What the biggest thing that stands out, other than they're really good, is they've put together a bullpen that not only is dominant, but has big reverse splits. So all their righties, and I said most of their righties are just carving up lefties. And I mean, like, a couple of them have like a 430, 450 OPS. So they're bringing guys in. They're not matching up. They're just bringing them in. You saw Dusty last night. The score was 6-0, but he got a couple of his regulars out. I just got an update there that said there is a storm that I believe is here, and they're hopeful that it's going to move out by game time, but they need to see how quickly, if it sits over us or, whatever, that lake of whatever that shit is.
So flexibility you have now with DH, is that something that, you can kind of do different things every day?
That's the idea. That's the idea. I mean, these guys have played a lot. I mean, in the past, we've never been able to have Rosario able to do something like that. He either has to take a day off or thinking about doing it tomorrow night, maybe with Quan, just because this kid has played a ton. He doesn't have the biggest body in the world. So we'll try to use it to our advantage. That's what you always try to do. We good?
Works for me.